So Dave and I had a FaceTime yesterday, and we both recognized that we really have a distinction that the pinky, which likely doesn't get very much exercise in a differentiated way, seems to have its own kind of dramas when twirling. So in David's case, activating that muscle is challenging. So we started talking about that, and I'm going to show you what we came up with as a way of starting to get the brain to know where the individual muscles in the pinky are, and then later being able to get them to go. So it looked like this. Now when I'm doing that, you might be able to notice that my ring finger is firmly connected in the sensory motor system to my pinky, and you can actually see it trying to do some work and activate as well. Let's see that. A big part of learning is not just getting the right muscles to move, but it's also trying to get all the extemporaneous muscle movements out of the action. You might notice when a child learns to do something, let's say hitting a drum for the very first time, they might grip the stick and, the whole arm and back and even the cheeks of their butt are activated and squeezing, or they might be biting their tongue, and slowly over time, those extemporaneous movements go away. So again, now you might notice that I'm actually holding the stick still, and that's just to give it a little more stability. Obviously over time we want to be able to do that where the stick is a bit more free-floating. The other distinction both of us had was that our left-hand pinkies seemed to work better than the others, and I've asked Dave about that. For me, because I played guitar, the left hand, all four fingers were activating and all the time, so from scale patterns to the various chords, etc. So I find my pinky on my left hand actually has a lot more flexibility, and my brain knows where those muscles are to control them much better than it actually does on the right hand, which probably only ever did typing and didn't use the pinky very often. So for many of you, you're going to have trouble and get stuck right at the beginning because the pinky's not going to seem to want to separate from the ring finger, and it's not going to have its own autonomy. So one last thing on this that I was discovering last night that might be helpful. Hold the stick again. If you find that you can't activate that pinky on its own, it just won't move, it's because the sensory motor pathway probably has no idea where the muscles are in the pinky. So if that happens, then think to do this. Hold the stick between your legs and actually use your opposite hand to move the pinky mechanically back and forth, because what you're doing by touching the finger and moving it mechanically is the brain's getting a sense of where that muscle is. And you might have to do this for a while so the sensory system is open to communication, and that has to be there first. The brain has to know where the muscle is, can sense the muscle before it's going to know how to switch that on through the motor system. So you might find doing this is really quite necessary. Just tug and pull and pushing around. So anyway, that's my little 2 cents on trying to get that pinky problem solved. Thanks, bye.